Huge news just dropped in Heroscape land. I feel like I say that literally every single video, but for real this time. Because in case you've been living under a rock, Pulsecon 2022 is going on right now, as I'm recording this. And the Heroscape panel just finished, or I guess the Avalon Hill panel, which was talking about heroes. Whatever. I'm doing journalism. I figure I should look like a journalist. So not only did the panel just conclude, but the Haslab campaign for the relaunch of Heroscape literally just dropped, like with the panel. And with both little tidbits dropping, we've learned a lot of stuff. First and foremost, we learned what we're getting with what they're calling the Vanguard Edition, or what you're backing on Haslab. 71 minis, 50 army cards, 68 wall pieces, and 9 jungle pieces. That's like twice the amount of shit that you got compared to Rise of the Valkyrie. The master set included 30 figures of unique units, which meant you could only have one in your army. It also had 85 pieces of terrain, or 87 if you included the ruins that came with it. Now, you're getting all of that stuff, but it does come at a price. That price being $250, which if you think about the amount of stuff that you're getting, is a pretty fair price. It's 2022. Games with minis are fucking expensive. Games with minis with 3D terrain, I'm honestly surprised it's not more. In addition to that, on the Haslab page, we got to learn that they are pushing for a fall 2023 launch. Now, I'm very excited about this for one reason and one reason only, because anyone who has watched my channel knows I get every single prediction wrong. And I got another prediction wrong too, by the way, but we'll get to that. This is the first prediction I've gotten right. Avalon Bill said that they don't want to announce the ship date just yet because there's still some variants, but he kind of confirmed that we should expect to see Heroscape around this time next year. Yes, it sucks that we have to wait a year, but for once, I am finally right. Now, the prediction point, whatever, that I was wrong on, well, this is recent. It's the lore. If you recall, a couple days ago, I said that the lore of Heroscape was kind of shit. And I actually had a long talk with C. Nad Dizzle a little bit afterwards, just talking shop. He's like, hey, nice video, whatever. I can't show the messages because he ended up telling me some like top secret things. I don't even know if I'm supposed to mention that he told me some top secret things, but I can't mention them. Based solely on his analysis of our favorite Chaos Marine Primarch, Mortarion, we're in good hands when it comes to the lore. I'll just leave it at that. I am wrong, and based on what he said at Pulsecon today, that just backed me up. Let's see, what else did we learn? Now, if you don't care about the new figures because you have a bajillion figures that are 12 years old and you just want the terrain, well, I'm actually pretty stoked by the terrain offering that we're getting. 74 base pieces, 68 wall pieces, which, holy shit, and 9 jungle pieces. Some nice jungle trees, which I'm super stoked about this because one of the big issues of Rise of the Valkyrie is that the maps, if you just have Rise of the Valkyrie, are kind of plain and vanilla. They're not the best. You have to get those expansion packs to really add pop to your maps. So by including these elements, we're going to be able to just have maps that pop right from the get-go. Of course, players who've been had this system for the past 15 years. They're not worried about that. But for new players who want to get into it, you don't have to worry about spending way too much money for plastic that is 15 years old. Now, speaking of terrain, we now unlocked the next level of salty bitches on the internet. In fact, Pulsecon 2022 has shown us a lot of salty bitches on the internet. The latest tier of salty bitches that have been unlocked are the salty bitches who are bitter that we don't get terrain packs. There's currently only one offering on Haslab, and that is buying the Vanguard Edition. You can't buy the terrain separate. Now, when we move on to retail, maybe you'll be able to buy the terrain separate then, but until then, you should still totally back it. I know 250 kind of steep, but it'd be nice for those of us who, really want the system. Which kind of brings me onto one of the downsides of how they're doing this whole thing with the Haslab funding process. Their goal is 8,000 backers. I'm not confident that they're going to hit 8K backers, if I'm being completely honest. Now, I've been wrong in literally every single prediction that I have ever made. So I hope that I'm wrong with this one, but 8K backers to even get the game, and that doesn't even count the stretch goals. By the way, this is Salty Bitch tier number 2. There are a lot of people who are bitter about the stretch goals, and I totally get that. I understand. I'm a little bitter about the stretch goals, probably just the cost of doing business, I'm afraid. Now, on the plus side, the stretch goals aren't too much higher than the base fulfillment goal. The first stretch goal, which is the reprint of Sergeant Drake Alexander, is coming in at 10K, and it goes up about 2K all the way till my favorite unit that, holy crap, I hope we hit 16K backers, Evil Raylan. Evil Raylan looks amazing. Back the projects so that we can all get Evil Raylan, because like, bro, oh my god, she looks awesome. My What Killed Heroscape video has over 9,000 views. If every single one of those people back this project, then maybe we'll hit our goal. But we probably won't hit the stretch goals because, like I said, 9K. Now, am I being totally egocentric because I'm just relying on my own view count to determine the success of this project? Yes. Yes, I am. But anyways, I digress. I haven't written anything. I'm recording this literally right after the panel. Some other things that we learned is that they changed the name of the Craven Court to the Nemesis Warbrood, which I found kind of interesting. They brought it up and I was like, wait, what are they talking about? And then we saw the bugs and I'm like, oh, it's the bug faction. Kind of a curious change. I guess it makes sense because Craven Court does kind of, I mean, CC, Clockwork Combine, Craven Court, makes sense. Nemesis Warbrood is very distinct from those. We also learned a little bit more about the generals. Jandar and Utgar and Vidar are all making their glorious returns. We're also getting 2 new generals. Revna, who's like a witch seeress who can see into the future and is like super evil, and Volorak, who is patient, pragmatic, armed soldiers with weapons she forges. They're fleshing out the Curie a lot more with this go-around. Specifically, each general has new Curie offerings, and they seem to be framing Curie as like these elite units, which I mean, Raylan was literally the best character in the original game, so that totally makes sense. And the concept art is looking amazing. I'm not 100% sure if we're gonna get that in the initial offering. It may be, you know, an expansion down the line. Either way, I am stoked. So I know that was just a total scramble of possibly undiagnosed ADHD word vomit, but that was pretty much everything new that we learned from the Pulsecon panel. I'm sure someone's gonna drop a comment saying that I missed something. I did miss something. It's the most important thing that we learned from the entire panel. Sparkly water tiles are fucking back, baby. Let's go. Anyways, if you saw that and you're not caught up with all the other stuff that we already know, you should totally click like right here and check out the other Heroscape news videos that I have done. And until next time when we find out more info. Thanks for watching.